On this week's show, we'll be unboxing one of the world's most powerful laptops with a mighty silicon chip. And we have an electric twist to your favorite supercar here in Mumbai. We'll also be giving you lots of AI tips and tricks and really speaking to Gen Z and millennials in their language about what a 70-hour work week is all about, or what is work-life balance. Is it a myth? I'm your host Aayush Ailawadi, and this is Tech Today. You know, when we talk about that electric push, all these new EVs in the market, it's not like we're only getting these in India or Tesla's coming to India. Even supercars are slowly getting there. Well, at least the stepping stone, which is a hybrid engine. And it's not just any supercar, it's one of the world's most popular supercars. It's the Lamborghini. So I thought we get a lot of EVs on the show. Let's see how Lamborghini is embracing technology to give you, well, an absolute beast. Or shall I say, a bull. I'll see you there. Fun fact, every time Lamborghini launches a new product, they name it after a popular bull. This one's named after the Revuelto. Now, this is a big launch for Lamborghini here in India, 0 to 100 in under 2.5 seconds. How are they managing to do this? This is their first super sports hybrid with a V12. Now, there's a lot of tech on the inside, a lot of attention to design. It looks like a Lamborghini, it feels like a Lamborghini, but it's got that special futuristic twist. Now, we're going to tell you what's happening on the inside of the car, and then a very special conversation to tell you what the secret sauce is all about. All right, I'm sat here in the cockpit, literally, because they believe it's a pilot sort of architecture for every Lamborghini owner. Of course, this is truly like a cockpit, but this particular UX extends across 3 screens. And what's special with this Lamborghini is that they have a screen over here with essential information for the passenger as well. So the co-pilot clearly has a role to play. And when you're talking about the co-pilot, you could talk about perhaps, well, backseat driving or neighboring seat driving. But over here, you have essential information, which looks really cool because the design language on this screen flows seamlessly to this separate, distinct screen with similar fonts and language, and then moves over here as well. The color with this orange and all of this machinery on display genuinely makes you feel like putting your foot on the pedal and taking this for a long drive. All right, we brought you up to speed about the Lamborghini Revuelto. This is hybrid tech at its finest, but there's so many more questions I have. What's the whole electrification push all about? What's the team thinking about this launch, and how will India respond to this grand launch? All that in the conversation coming up next. You know, on Tech Today, we love bringing you the latest technologies, EVs. What if I told you that one of your favorite, most aspirational supercars is now coming with a futuristic twist? I have with me the Lamborghini Revuelto and the 2 men at the launch event behind this big launch, Francesco Scardaoni and, of course, Sharad Agarwal. Gentlemen, what a pleasure to have you on Tech Today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Sharad, I'd like to start off by asking you about this particular launch. It's a monumental one for Lamborghini, especially considering this is the 60-year anniversary celebration for you guys as well. And this is a vehicle which will be loved, and I can tell you this, by a lot of Indian customers. What do you think the response has been like with this initial reveal for us? And what are your expectations with this particular super sports car?
I mean, the response has been phenomenal, and we are pretty excited. The kind of feedback that we are getting from our customers, fans, and also the super sports car enthusiasts in the country. You know, the kind of order bank that we have already for this car, which is making us to, cover the production up till 2025 and running into 2026, clearly demonstrate, the kind of response that we are getting. And, at Lamborghini, we always said that when we are moving into this path towards electrification, our strategy, Core Tauri, we always said that we don't want to be the first, but we want to be the best. And that's what we have done with the Revuelto, We have always put the performance and the emotions on the top for our customers. And that's why we see the kind of response that we are receiving from the market, from our customers.
Sharad, you said it in such a smooth, monotone right out there. You delivered it perfectly. But the tech geek in me, when you mention some of the things, my heart skipped a beat because those are features which we'd love to see in a supercar like this. And Francesco, that's what I wanted to come to. This human-machine interface, the focus on ADAS, some of these other features, the design language. As the world evolves and the customer evolves, it seems like luxury car makers like Lamborghini also understand the need to create a product for a tech-forward or a tech-first customer.
Again, it's important to create a futuristic product. And this is what we are good at Lamborghini. Then if you see the line starting from the design of this car, you can understand that it's a new design language for Lamborghini, but still you can find lines from our V12 history. The periscope line, the shoulder of the Diablo. So you can see our heritage, but still with a new design language that anticipates the future. Again, looks like a spaceship, and inside, the spaceship, there's an alien. So if you see the interior of the car, it looks like an alien, And it was important, again, also to be in this futuristic approach of the interior, having screens inside the car, also with the co-pilot, and having a human-machine interface available for driver and co-pilot, like the latest trends of digitalization that you can see in those new cars that everyone is introducing with big screens. So of course, in a super sport car, a big screen wouldn't fit much. Also because we are always caring about the weight, which is important for handling. And so, by having this setup of the 3 screens is the perfect combination in terms, user experience.
They say never bring a tech geek like me to an Apple store. That's because it means emptying your bank balance. You'll keep buying more products in the ecosystem, but there's so much we already have. But what's new in the Apple lineup that we don't have already? Well, there you go. Bank balance emptied. It's time to unbox the new MacBook Pro with M3 Max. From the Apple Store to the Tech Today studios here in Mumbai, I've already unboxed this fresh from the oven, the new M3 MacBook Pro. Shall I say the M3 Max MacBook Pro, because it can get a bit confusing, but Apple has been as clear as they can be. This is the new silicon, a 3nm process, basically a very powerful chipset, perhaps one of the most powerful chipsets ever on a laptop computer. Now, how have these different M3 chips been positioned? There's the basic M3, you get the MacBook Pro in that as well, but you don't get that in this space black color. Then you get the M3 Pro and then the M3 Max, which is all the bells and whistles and in this new space black color. Now, Apple did a lot in its keynote address to tell us that this is, of course, the new space black color, and it looked amazing there. It looks lovely now as well. But it isn't really a matte black or an entire deep black. It looks very gray, especially in our studio lighting. Now, coming back to the new MacBook Pro, Apple claims they've used some sort of material on this to make this lesser of a fingerprint magnet. There are a bunch of fingerprints on this already, but in all honesty, it seems like a lesser fingerprint magnet than previous models. Now, speaking of specs, it can get confusing on the Apple website when you're trying to mix the permutations and combinations and get the right MacBook. This one is all the bells and whistles. It's the M3 Max. It comes with a 16-core CPU, a 40-core GPU, 128 GB of RAM, 8 terabytes of storage, but you obviously get this in different renditions. You get it all the way from 512 GB, you get a 1 terabyte, 2, 4, and then this 8 terabyte version. Even in terms of RAM, it starts at 8 gigs and goes all the way up to to 128 gigs. Now you might not see much of a bump up from the M1 or the M2 if you go into pure specs. There are performance upgrades, but it's about how Apple optimizes their silicon across the ecosystem to really give you the best performance and battery life. Now in terms of standby performance, you can get nearly 22 hours with this particular device, watching Apple TV, editing, doing all sorts of graphic intensive tasks. So what this essentially does is gives you a desktop class experience on a laptop. So you don't need to be plugged in all the time, maybe once or twice a day, and then you can carry this around with you, edit whatever you want to, and also a lot of gaming, because that's the big push from Apple. In terms of the display, it's one of the best displays I've ever seen on a laptop. It's an absolutely stunning display, liquid retina, XDR, 120Hz refresh rate, 1600 nits of peak brightness. That means you can take this outside by the poolside, even in the garden if you're working from anywhere, at the airport as well. And that sort of display means you'll be able to see very clearly in dimly lit scenarios and in bright scenarios as well. But you'll also be able to hear very clearly on the MacBook Pro, because this comes with stellar sound. It always has. You have a 6-speaker sound system with force cancelling woofers. The sound is really good on the new MacBook Pro as well. There's also a lot of high-end editing, VFX, AI, AR-based softwares which the guys at Apple and developers have been working on, which can work for gaming, which can work for mixed reality. Does that really ring a bell? Of course, the Apple Vision Pro is coming in 2024, and it looks like Apple is building the ecosystem to really feed the MVP, or the most valuable player. Just like a football team trying to feed their star player, or a cricket team focusing everything around the central protagonist, which is going to be Apple Vision Pro, something we're very excited about. But these will all be building blocks in making sure that that mixed reality experience is flagship. Now, the 14-inch model that we are reviewing actually comes with a bunch of ports. Our team has been most impressed with the SDXC port, which means when we're shooting these shows, creating content for US creators, plug it right in over here and start editing. And if you're talking about power, pure power, there's a lot happening on the left side, but over here as well, of course, you have an HDMI in. You have AirPlay on this, so you can cast it onto other devices, but if you want low latency, low lag, you have that as well. You have a MagSafe charger over here, and then you have 3 Thunderbolt ports, 1, 2, the third one over here, and you also have a 3.5mm headphone jack right over here. So honestly, if you want a portable powerhouse or your editing suite on the wheels, on the go, the MacBook Pro is the only device you need. Now let's sum up our initial impressions of this device. We're going to be testing each feature in terms of gaming, also in terms of editing and stuff like that. How much can this help you when you're building a career in AI or AR or VR? I think this is the device for you, but it is very, very expensive, which brings me to my next point. This particular spec with all the bells and whistles is nearly 6.8 lakh rupees. But this is only to showcase how good the technology is. You can obviously get a base M3 for a lot lesser, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 lakh rupees. And comparing that to an M2 or to the MacBook Air lineup, the higher end versions of the MacBook Air, there's not too much of a difference if you really want that performance, if you really want to do editing, if you want something that's more pro, more portable, and more affordable for all these features put together. But that advice only applies if you are an animator, designer, artist, editor, engineer, researcher. If you're into these fields, then the MacBook Pro is a great option for you. If you're trying to replace your desktop experience and you prefer something more portable, then it's an option for you. And then of course, there's a bunch of other things you can do. You can hook this up to a bigger display, the Mac Studio, all of that as well. But that is a very specific niche. I just wanted to showcase how good technology has gotten, how much it's growing, and what it means for the future. The new Apple MacBook Pro M3 Max, the 14-inch. Stay tuned to Tech Today for more content on this powerhouse. What if I told you that in the battle of voice assistants between Google, Siri, and Alexa, the real winner is the iPhone 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max, and you don't even need to use Siri? I'll show you how. I press the action button right here. I've been very flaky with my friends and ditched them too often. Could you invite them over this weekend, draft a message for me, and maybe help me make some biryani?
Hey, I get it. Let's smooth things over. How about this for a message? Hey friends, I've been a bit flaky lately, and I want to make it up to you. How about coming over this weekend? We can catch up and I'll make some biryani. What do you think? And I'm here to help with the biryani recipe. What type do you want to make?
I want to make a nice chicken biryani. Can you help me with that?
Absolutely. Chicken biryani is a great choice. Here's a simple plan. Marinate chicken with yogurt, spices, and let it sit for an hour.
All right.
Meanwhile,
Now, while she speaks to me, the interface might look different because this, pinch yourself, is ChatGPT on my iPhone being triggered by none other than the action button. I'll tell you how to do this jugaad on your iPhone now. Of course, it would require the 15 Pro or the 15 Pro Max if you want to use the action button. Some people are opening up their EVs and whatnot using this button, but basically download the Shortcuts app, which is an iOS app, and download ChatGPT. Update both of them, make sure they're the latest version, and then I'll tell you how the magic happens. Step 1 is open settings and then scroll down to find the action button interface on your iPhone 15 Pro. Then select the shortcut button, and when you are in the menu, look for shortcuts. Now, in the shortcuts options, scroll and find ChatGPT. Now, this is the most important part. If you have ChatGPT, the latest version installed on your iPhone, you can select the sub option, which is Start Voice Conversation, every time you press the action button. What do you do next? You press the shortcut button. It will not trigger Siri. It'll open ChatGPT by OpenAI, and you can ask it whatever you want to. Have you watched Tech Today on India Today, the technology show?
Oh, I don't watch TV shows, but I'm familiar with tech topics. What's caught your eye on Tech Today lately?
Well, she hasn't been watching too many shows, but she knows all about what's catching our eye on Tech Today. Well, this video will be on Tech Today very soon. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll give you more tips and tricks like this one, making your iPhone the smartest AI-powered device yet. Swipe up. Next. You open social media and everyone's talking about hustle culture. Work hard, play hard. Now, millennials thought in a particular way, and now Gen Z has its own approach to this new work culture. You have leaders like Narayana Murthy saying you need a 70-hour work week. Some people are irate about that. And then you also have Bill Gates talking about how AI is going to augment the workforce and it'll become a 3-day work week. Now, which side of the debate are you on? That's what we want to focus on out here. In Mumbai, it's always been work hard, play hard, but we want to understand what's happening across the world. What does young India and the rest of Gen Z across the world really think about this new work culture that's being propagated by a lot of tech titans around the world? Here's a Tech Today special report.
Earlier this month, Infosys co-founder Narayana Murthy sparked a debate about working hours in India, where he had suggested that young Indians should work at least 70 hours per week. Of course, it rattled all of us. Murthy argued that India's low productivity was really the major obstacle to the country's economic progress. He did say that young Indians needed to be willing to work long hours if they really wanted to succeed in this growing global economy. Well, that stands in stark contradiction to Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates' opinion here, who believes that a 3-day work week will be soon possible with artificial intelligence at our disposal. According to him, the purpose of life is not just jobs. He states, and I quote here, "We don't want to be fixated on what we do for a living that we forget about all the other things that life has to offer." After looking at the statements by the two tech giants, if I may call them, Congress MP Shashi Tharoor says that they both should sit together and come to a final conclusion, after which we would end up with the current 5-day work week pattern. Well, for those who are unaware, the average number of working hours in India is 47.7 hours per week, according to the International Labour Organization, the ILO, which is significantly higher than what we see in the United States, where the average work hours there is 37.5 working hours per week. Since the pandemic has shifted dimensions of work culture by introducing work from home or hybrid models of work, many have now become very comfortable with that. According to a 2022 study by the PwC, 72% of Gen Z workers in India prefer a hybrid working model, which allows them to maintain a work-life balance. But this is where some of the top leaders in the tech world disagree. Elon Musk has openly criticized the remote work culture, calling it morally wrong. Former Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos has also not really taken up to the concept of work-life balance. In fact, he believes in work-life harmony instead, where being happy at home positively impacts and affects how well one does at work. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has also sided with Bezos and stated his experience, and I quote here, "I used to always think that you need to find that balance between what's considered relaxing versus what is working." While Murthy's suggestion may have resonated with more folks a few years ago, the Gen Z of today really speak a very different language. In fact, it seems that today's youth indeed prefer a holistic approach and their well-being.
Things have changed so much over the past couple of years. I remember growing up exploring Bandra. There were so many local cafes and so many coffee shops. But now the world has come here to Mumbai, to India. Magnolia Bakery, the famous bakery from New York that everyone used to line up for those cupcakes and coffees and whatnot, is here. And all of Gen Z in Bandra now hangs out over here. What I'm trying to say is the new generation has a new approach, and rightfully so. It's the same when it comes to hustle culture, work-life balance. Very different views from what millennials or the generation before them really had about these particular aspects of work life. That's what we want to compile together. What does India's Gen Z really want from their jobs? Are they using technology for remote work? Is work from anywhere, work from home still a thing? Here's a special report by Tech Today's Priya Singh. I'm going to go get my red velvet cupcake and a coffee. I'll see you soon.
With hustle culture so popular on social media, do young India really care about work-life balance? Is remote work really a thing or something that is just on the top of our wish list? Join me as I talk to some people in the capital city. Infosys co-founder Narayana Murthy has said that 70-hour work week should be a thing in India. What do you think about it?
See, that's not practical. Again, this is not practical because you're asking an employer a whole blood, which is that is not even paid as well.
Well, if you are in the beginning of your career, maybe yes, because that's the time when you need to work hard.
I think we should keep balance between both.
70 hours for somebody who is not married, somebody who is young, makes sense.
Do you like work from home or work from somewhere else? Or you like coming to office or hybrid model? What do you prefer?
In my opinion, every company should give a liberty to the employer to employee, because it will depend upon the work pressure in the company, because every company has a some peak period, some lean period. So in the peak period, you can call the employees to come to office and do some work, and in the lean period, you can give some liberty to the employees that you can do the work from home or work from somewhere else.
Hybrid, because in that we will work professionally also, and we'll get the time to rest also. There will be no fatigue like that. So yeah, there should be a hybrid model for team activity also, and for ourselves also time we'll get.
I was 22 years old and I'm serious about my career. I would definitely consider that. But then it should not be imposed, I think. I think it should be voluntary, because anybody who wants to work hard, who wants to build his career and wants to pursue his dreams or goals, then yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Quick question as yet another episode of Tech Today draws to a close. Am I shooting the show in capital city Delhi, or am I shooting this in the home of Tech Today, Mumbai? Now, this thick sort of blanket of fog could be confusing and misleading, but the sea is the giveaway. This is the home of Mumbai Tech Today, but we're not very proud of the AQI levels and the pollution levels over here today. If you look over there, you can't even see the ceiling, and you cannot even see the magnificent skyline of Mumbai. That's because AQI levels are soaring through the roof, just like New Delhi. It's not a competition, it's not something to be proud about, but maybe we can fight this menace, or at least augment our fight with some technology. That's something we'll be exploring on the show and across the multiverse in subsequent weeks. But for now, we've covered your favorite gadgets, one push for sort of electrification by a leading luxury car maker as well, Lamborghini, and answer all your questions as well. Let us know what you thought of this particular episode. Until next week, this is your host Aayush Ailawadi saying adios.